We have there Nazam. Welcome in, Nazam. Welcome. Thank you for being here. How are you doing this morning? Where are you checking in from? What time is it where you're checking in from? Everyone, please take a moment. Drop in your time where you're checking in from. I'd like for everyone to know it has been a blessed week, another great week in my life, another phenomenal week in Malaysia. Good morning, Malaysia. What time do you have there in Malaysia? It's 4:30 a.m. here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Let's celebrate another great week. Let's continue to live out this time with joy, with blessings and appreciations. Today we're talking about adaptability and what it means to adapt. 4:33 in the afternoon, we are half a world apart. Well, literally, I guess that's as far away. We are exactly 12-hour time difference. I guess that's as far away as we can be before we start coming back together. So good afternoon in Malaysia. Who do we have? Blessings, brother. Top of the morning. Jason, good morning. And Elijah, Eli, hello, Eli. Welcome in from Ireland, Canada for Jason. Good morning from Canada, from Ireland. Thank you guys for being in, for being up, being here with us this morning. If you checked in, dropped in where you're from, please drop a thumbs up, drop a like. I'd appreciate that, guys. We're gonna have a quick 30 minutes this morning, guys. For those of you who are here on a regular basis, you know we do this walk. I take this opportunity before I get started with my day. I do have a routine with my family. And then we also have more things to get done during the day. But this morning, this time, this 4:30 to 5 is my walk and talk. It is very therapeutic. It allows for me to get up, to get centered, to understand and remind myself that the things I do for a purpose, that we have a goal, that we are living our life in a way for a reason, and that we need to learn to appreciate, understand our purpose, appreciate our purpose, and continue to live. So, Ireland, clear the mind for the day. Indeed, indeed. King, welcome in. How do you feel about Puerto Rico? Blessings. Are you from Puerto Rico, King? Is that what you're asking me? Is that where you're checking in from? Welcome in. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning, for being a part. Again, if you've checked in, please let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is. Go ahead, drop a thumbs up, drop a like. Again, today, we're going to be talking about adaptability. Life is about purpose. Life is about understanding. Life is about belonging. We are here for a reason. Whew. And we need to understand it. If we have not understood, come to understand our reason or our direction or our purpose. Trust me, someone else has a purpose for us, and we will live there. I am so sorry I was muted. Good morning, everyone. Has anyone heard me? I don't think anyone has heard me this far this morning. Maybe you did hear me and I just muted myself. Did I just mute myself? Was I muted that whole time, people? I hope not. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How do we have here? Let me get my camera fixed. And I have Jason, hi. Thank you very much. Muted for just a sec. Miracle Empress, welcome in. How are you doing? Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for being a part of the stream. This morning we're talking about adaptability. Adaptability as a leadership focus. As we do every morning, we discuss and we delve into the things that are required. I motivate, I encourage. Hello, good morning, how are you doing? Chantel Rose, good morning, how are you doing? Welcome in, thank you for being here. We encourage, we motivate, and we pray for one another here. We support one another here, and we make sure that we continue to provide leadership and guidance in a way that'll be beneficial to everyone. B&V Finance Fixers is all about the understanding of empowerment, of discipline, and leadership components to improve every area of your life. The leadership competencies of self-awareness and self-accountability will allow for you to improve exponentially your earning potential, your wealth, your peace, improve your relationships with your family. It is not a guess, it is not a gimmick, it is the truth. It's a life that I am living, and it's a life that we can all live by living with purpose. So I want to appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for checking in. Once again, if you're just getting here, go ahead, take a moment, drop in where you're checking in from, what time it is where you are, and make sure to take a moment to get ourselves centered. If we're starting our day, if we're in the middle of our day or the end of our day, continuing to remember that we're living with purpose. And so the things that we woke up for, the things that motivated us to start the day, should also be the things that we remember and we look back on throughout our day, understanding that the actions that we took were to move closer to that goal. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. And again, we're going to be talking about adaptability, guys. It's going to be the ability to use the adaptability to make sure that we're continuing to grow, that we're continuing to move forward, and that we're continuing to understand our purpose, right? So how does adaptability apply? Again, all of these components apply to every part in our life. One of the major things about adaptability is, as a leadership component, because we must first learn to lead ourselves, is in order to be able to lead others as well, we need to be able to understand if the path we are traveling encounters hardships or difficulty, it is our ability to adapt to the environment, to adapt to the course, to adapt to the conditions, to continue to provide leadership and continue to provide direction for both ourselves and those who are traveling with us. Whether it's your family, whether it's your office, whether it's your business, whatever it is, in order for us to continue to see success, in order for us to continue to journey along our path, we must have to learn to adapt. Now, here's the thing. Adaptability does not mean giving up. It doesn't mean quitting. It doesn't mean going back. So how do we adapt? What is a concept, or what is a vision of adapting, right? So anybody who's in here today, people who are in here and a part of this walk and talk, a part of the chat, can you share with me what the difference is between adapting, right, and changing? Because they're not the same. For us to adapt and for us to change are two different things. Can anyone share what the difference is between adapting your plan and changing your plan? right? Because this is all about your vision. This is all about understanding your vision, where you're going, and can we understand the difference between adapting our plan and changing our plan. Again, good morning. If you just dropping in, guys, please drop into the chat where you're checking in from, what time it is where you're from, and go ahead and drop it a thumbs up. I appreciate that as well. So hello, everyone. Quick question is, what is the difference between adapting a plan and changing a plan? Do we know what the difference is in those two areas? What's the difference in us adapting our plan and changing our plan? Again, this is a leadership competency that works in every area of life. Do we know what that difference would be? Empress said, adapting your plan is keeping the core goal. And changing is switching it all together. Exactly, people. That's very true. Adapting your plan keeps an understanding that the goal has not changed. The objective has not changed. The purpose has not changed. Where the method by which we achieve it may, right? The steps that we take and the specific path that we may be traveling on may require for us to use, no problem, may require for us to use a different method of travel. It may even require for us to change some of the expectations in terms of time of completion and things like that. However, adapting our plan does not mean changing our plan altogether. Jesus Ramirez, what are you doing? Looking all crazy, walking in the street in the middle of the night. It is the top of the morning, Jesus, where you checking in from. Thank you for being here. I am doing my morning wake up, walk and talk, man. We're here this morning encouraging and motivating one another. Thank you for dropping in, Jesus. Thank you for participating in the chat as well. I appreciate you having here. Let me know where you're from, Jesus. Where you checking in from? What time is it where you are? All right. Jesus, Arizona, good sir. Thank you very much. Michael John, what do we have? You were saying the same thing? Or are you also from Arizona, Michael? Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. So what we're doing this morning is I'm on this walk and talk every morning for 30 minutes. Right now, today, what we're talking about is adaptability. The difference between adapting and changing, where when you adapt for our life's purpose, when we're living and we're working towards a goal, 1:45 out there in Arizona. All right, it's really top of the morning. When you are adapting your plan to achieve your goal doesn't change, right? However, when you are going through something, and this is one of the key elements of being a leader and learning to persevere, you may have to adapt your plan quite often, especially as you move into arenas. So as you develop your plan and you move into arenas in which you are not familiar with, adaptability is key because you start to understand that there may have been areas of knowledge, there may have been knowledge areas that you weren't familiar with. So the ability to be able to adapt is what keeps you moving forward. Oftentimes, we start doing things and we get stuck, right? Again, this comes from my experience as a personal trainer, which I draw on all the time, which is where I developed the discipline dividend system, is that when you start to get to a point where you stop seeing growth, it is usually because your body has adapted to what you've asked it to do. The body is a remarkable thing. And so if you ask your body on a regular basis to do something, the body will respond and it will do it. However, the body will learn how to do it and continue to store and survive on the energy that's remaining. It will make changes to the baseline system so that it is not destroyed because of the changes that you've made to your life, which is phenomenal. It's a great thing. However, you don't want to change your goal. If you're working on growth, if you're working on weight loss, whatever it is, you have to make sure that you adapt. And so adapting doesn't mean that you change and you no longer want to build your arms or you no longer want to build muscle, whatever the case may be. It simply means that you now have to understand there are different ways to attack this. You may have to spend more time, you may have to adapt the particular movements that you use in your exercises to help you achieve the goal. You may have to adapt the time you spend working out. You may even have to change the time of day that you work out or the days that you work out so as to shock the muscle and change the body's stasis of understanding, hey, here's what you're asking me to do. No problem, I'm gonna do it. So these are some of the things that we go through that are the difference between changing our plan and adapting our plan. I wanna check out this chat real quick, guys, try to answer some questions for you. I was like, man, this guy's trying to get shot. No, not trying to get shot, thank you very much. It's cool. I'm here to DMV. Randall, welcome in. I'm not sure what that is. Can't quite pronounce it. Thank you, K-Sam, for the sub. Getting your heart rate up is great for you. It absolutely is. Ryan, welcome in, buddy. How are you doing in Hawaii? Thanks for being here, Ryan. Welcome in today. Dia, Simply, and Ashika, hi. Hi, how are you doing this morning? Please trim your beard. I was thinking about shaving. This week. I've let it grow out wild. My wife likes this look. She appreciates the beard, so I let it grow. So what does adaptability mean? So in the terms of being adaptable, in the terms of being a type of leader who can understand that the goal hasn't changed, but the path, the way in which we're achieving the goal may require some attention, or one of the skill sets that's going to give us the opportunity to be able to truly grow and to truly assist others, right? To understand like I said, one of the key elements that we have to use in the pillars of discipline is perseverance. And adaptability is what's going to allow us to persevere, to understand that we may need to look at how we're attacking the objective, but not change the objective, not change the goal, right? Prodigy, some advice for a younger man trying to get out of poverty. Yes, indeed, definitely. It's advice for people who are in poverty, for people who are out of poverty. This is advice for people who are starting a business. The same elements apply. If you're a billionaire, millionaire, or if you are a nothing there, it doesn't matter where you are. If you have to understand, first and foremost, we need to understand our purpose. We need to get our mindset correct on understanding no one's coming to save us. We're not waiting for someone to come pick us up and live the Hallmark movie with us and say, I've been waiting all my life for this chance to save you. Let me put you on a pedestal. And then we have to get to work. And the first thing that we have to work on is ourselves. It's not working on a job. The first thing we have to work on is ourselves, because it doesn't matter the type of work we do. If we do not have within us the ability to understand our purpose and our requirement to perform within our own lives, then we will not be able to successfully sustain or achieve any true level of happiness, of reward, of purpose. We won't be able to, because we are not the people who we need to be in order to have it, right? So what does this mean, right? How does this apply to what we're talking about this morning? And again, all of these things are connected. If you come in and you check in and you're a part of the conversations, if you're a part of the walk and talk with me in the morning, what you'll understand and what you'll see is that the talks will be the same. There'll be a common thread within most of them. And the thing that you're going to understand and the thing that you're going to hear and what that common thread is going to be is that this discipline is required. There are 4 pillars of discipline. You work on 5 focus areas in your life. Those 4 pillars of discipline that you're going to have are going to be repetition, patience, consistency, and perseverance. The leadership components that you use as part of it will support those 4 pillars. And what that means to our development is when we look today at perseverance, perseverance is about understanding that there will be challenges. It won't be easy. There will be difficulties. And how do we achieve? How do we overcome? Good morning, Mr. P. How are you doing today? Yeah, the Hallmark movie. So thank you very much, Big Mac, for being here. How are you doing this morning? Tropic, hey, good morning, Tropic of Neptune. Welcome in. So the focus and the big thing that's going to be important for us as we go through these journeys is understanding that if we're keeping these pillars of discipline aligned and we're using these in our life and we're using them for development and for our focus, when it comes to today's topic, adaptability, it's going to be one of the biggest ones for perseverance, because we can get to a point in our life where we're like, man, I know I should be there by now. I know I should have achieved this by now. I know this should be happening for me already. And if we have that view and we start to get frustrated, that perseverance, I'm telling you, patience is important, because patience is where, if we lack patience, it's where we just give up, right? Perseverance is where the adaptability component comes in, because perseverance means we had the patience to understand it was going to take a while, but now things have gotten to a point where it's like, this is becoming difficult, and I don't know who to hire. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do next or what to do differently. So instead of me working on building this app, let me just, I don't know, let's change. Let's not just build an app. Let's just make it a food app, right? The app was originally going to be about travel. Well, let's not make it about travel. Let's make it about food. Or my YouTube channel was going to be about fitness, but I didn't know that I was going to have to, be this involved in the fitness element. So instead of making it about fitness, let's make it about taking pictures, right? Or let's make it about travel. And so that's what changing, right? So when we're living for a purpose, when we understand our purpose and we understand why the thing that we're doing is contributing to our purpose, we understand that we have to adapt. The plan doesn't have to change, which is why we need to understand the purpose before we get started. We need to understand the direction before it got started. Like, I knew for a fact when I started this channel after my father passed, that the point, or shortly before my father passed, is that the point is I needed to change the direction of myself and my life, primarily to fix the financial issues and the struggles that we had endured for years. And as part of that process, I knew I needed to work on me. There needed to be change in me. And so when the name Finance Fixers, B&V Finance Fixers, was created, it was because I understood ultimately that what I was doing with my family, the bird's nest, what we were doing in my household, was important for a finance fix for generations, not just for a temporary adjustment to how we spend money so we can start to save. This is a generational legacy building change. And so adapting is understanding that my original thing was just, hey, I'm gonna just post shorts. I'm gonna remix and green screen other people's shorts and put out other people's content. And if you look at the beginning of the channel, you'll see that the content that I put out, some of it was my own, some of it was remixed from other people. And the focus on it was from the people who I was learning from. I would remix content from other creators who I was learning from and who I was taking in information from. And as I started to take in that information and started to hear it, I'm like, this is very similar to my belief system. This is already a part of my core behaviors. And I started to look at it and I was like, I know this, right? I know these things that need to be done. Why am I not doing these things? And then it took me getting up and going to do them. And so I'm sharing with you that once I started to look back, I started to see how these same skills that I had applied in my workplace to help develop clients, to train employees, to help companies build their teams and make money were the same simple skill sets that I needed to apply to my household in order to ensure that I'm building my family's prosperity, building trust and relationships within my household, and improving. And that adaptability, the adaptations that needed to be made were me understanding that I could continue to share out other people's information, or I could simply start to live that process. And I still do the occasional remix or green screen from content from other channels. And I don't claim that that content is my own, but I do share the information. I do share what I believe is good, what is great, and what has value. But what I had to do, the adaptation that I had to make, the area of adaptability where I had to be present, is in my own presence and my own participation. And that's when I started the walk. And after I started the walk, I later decided, hey, let me add people in on the walk. And that's where we are now. So what happened? Has my goal changed? No. Has my focus changed? No. Have I changed some of the things that I've done, or have we made adaptations or adjustments to the way that we do it? Yes, right? But the goal stays the same. For example, I told you that my family, my children require, it is incumbent upon me to provide stability, consistency, and safety for my family. And in order to do that, my children require for there to be some consistency to which they cannot provide. They're children. So my children, even though I would like for my children to get up every morning and be active and understand that it's important for them to work on themselves, but that before they start working in the world for others, my oldest child is 15. And the first 13 years of his life, I had not completely understood where I needed to be. I had a sense of what needed to happen. I had a sense of what we wanted to provide and how we wanted to provide it. But I had not yet gotten myself to be the example that he needed to see. And so if I wanted to see change in my house, it had to start with me, right? And so one of the things that we've adapted is I told him we're gonna wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. Sundays, Saturdays, weekends, holidays, we're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And we had to do that for nearly 2 months, simply for us to get to a point of my children understanding, I get it. This isn't something that you want to do, but this is a lesson that I need to instill. This is something that I should have imparted to you years ago. And my children's focus is, I want to sleep in. But it wasn't even to sleep in. It was literally just the option. The children, the older children was like, can I just have the option to sleep in? And the thing that I had to understand is I needed to get through that. I was at a point where I was prepared to just give up and just cancel the meeting altogether because of the frustration and the difficulty of it, because of how hard it was. And my wife stepped in and said, no, This is good. They're children. They don't know what's good for them. We have a responsibility as parents to show up. And I'm telling you, I was at my wit's end, and it was my wife who encouraged me and who told me in the moment, do not do that. These children are learning from this. They're growing from it. And it's instilling something in them, and we have a purpose and we have a plan. Let's stay our course so that we are not letting our children down. And I had to understand that. And that's the difference between adapting and changing. I had persevered. I'm talking about 2 months of just angry children, just in your face, just like, and it is a difficult thing to endure when the people you love are upset and they're upset at you. And so I was prepared to capitulate, but that's not adapting, that's giving up. And so I had to learn, I had to stay the course, and now my children get up, they wake up in the morning with the alarms. The area in which I adapted, we had a conversation, again, speaking to my wife and children. It's the weekend, it's the holidays, we don't have school. We don't, like, we have a whole day ahead of us to be able to work on ourselves. And I said, okay, so we moved the wake up time back to 7:30 on the weekends and on holidays. And the interesting thing is that for my children, they go to school and they talk to their friends. And their friends' take on it is interesting because some of them are like, man, wow, that's cool, right? Where my children are like, what is wrong with you? And so they explain, as I explain to my children, 6 o'clock in the morning is the time that we get up, because before we go out to spend time with the rest of the world, before we go out and we start working on what the world wants us working on, we want to get up, we want to spend time with each other, and we want to start working on ourselves, right? We want to start working on who we are in the morning. What's that, caveman? I bet they're white. That's funny. We are all a work in progress. We are indeed. Kerman 569 says, how many steps in the goal at the moment? Which goal are we talking about? You couldn't have, all right, Furler, funny. Romaldo, don't be talking about my granny. I would try my best not to. All right, Justice said Nate McMillan. Having patience is a slow thinking is a greater word. And the slow thinking is a greater word. Mr. P said, so my purpose is my family, as it is for many folks, I suppose. That's a great thing. A lot of people's purpose is their family. Hey guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for participating in the chat. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And Holy Mindset, I'm sorry I didn't see this earlier. I did want to say that the chat today was about adaptability. It's always about motivation. It's always about purpose, and it's always about understanding our purpose. Guys, thank you for being here. If you haven't had a chance yet, please take an opportunity, drop a thumbs up, take a look at the page, like, subscribe, and share. I'm out here every morning from 4:30 until 5. This is a part of what I do. It's a part of my development and my growth. I want to appreciate you guys for being here. I want to thank you for being here. I need to head back so that I can get the rest of my day or the rest of my morning finished up before my family gets up. It's always great to have you here. Keep in mind what we spoke about today, people, as we go out into the world, is what we shared about was adaptability. And what adaptability is, what the focus is on adaptability is understanding the ability to be able to adjust your plan or change your path, change your method of approach without changing your plan or your goal. And so there will be times when we need to adapt, especially when we hit areas that are knowledge areas in our growth and development that we did not have prior to. So as we continue to move, as we continue to grow, continue to be blessed. You guys have a great day, a blessed day. Thank you for being here again. You guys take care. Bye-bye.